Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the second video of this week. This video's topic is going to mainly be about whether you need a radar detector and how you can speed or do stuff like that without a radar detector, and how you can avoid getting busted by a cop or getting pulled over and stuff like that. Step number 1. Get to know your police cars. So in America, the majority of the police cars are American-made vehicles. They're going to be Dodge, Chevy, or Ford. They're going to consist of either Dodge Chargers or Ford SUVs, Dodge SUVs, or Crown Victorias, something of that sort. Another thing you want to look for is the spotlight. They're going to have a spotlight right here on the driver's side on the windshield. A normal car obviously won't have that, so if you see that, that's an immediate indication it's a police car. The next big hint that it's a police car is the wheels. Police cars have those black steel wheels, and they have that chrome center cap in the middle. Another thing police cars have are those long antennas on the roof or on the trunk of the vehicle. Alright, now that you know what your police cars look like and what to look for whenever you're looking for a police car, let's move on to tip number 2. Tip number 2, don't speed on main roads, save it for the highway. Whenever you're speeding on a main road, there's always going to be intersections or corners, and you're risking somebody pulling out in front of you, and you end up hitting them or having to react very quickly. And so that's putting yourself at risk and other people's lives at risk. The second part to this is that there could be a cop hiding behind a corner or behind a building and just waiting for you to pass by, and it'll get you right away. So you don't want that. Tip number 3, speeding on highways. Alright, speeding on highways. There's 2 types of highways you want to speed on. One that's open on both sides, not many trees on either side of the highway, and just clear straight road. That way you can see if there's any car pulled over on the side of the road or anything, pulled over on the shoulder. If you see that's possibly a police officer and you don't want to fly by that. You want to slow down, make sure it's not a police officer, then go. The second type of highway you want to speed on is one that's closed in on both sides with dividers, with either guardrails or those concrete sides. The reason why you want to speed on those is that way you can confirm 100% that there's not a cop hiding on the side of the road pulled over, because there's just physically not enough room for a vehicle to be pulled over on the side of the road, just because there's so little space between the lane and the wall. So you just confirm that there's no cops hiding on the side right there. Tip number 4, speeding at night. People always say to go speeding at night, it's the best time, there's less traffic, it's easier to go out, speed, or do top speed runs. And the majority of the time that's true. But the main issue you're going to run into is that there's going to be less traffic, that's true, but there's going to be a better chance of police officers hiding in the distance that you won't be able to see just because of the fact that it's dark and your vision is going to be obscured with low light. So yeah, don't ever go out speeding at night. It's best to just do it in the daylight where you can easily see what's up ahead in the distance. Tip number 5, speeding when there's people around you. If, for example, you're on the highway right now, you're on the left lane, and there's a car in front of you and there's a car beside you, you don't want to speed at that moment because you have chances of that car in front of you, maybe, pulling out the lane in front of you, or the car next to you leaning into your lane. You want to make sure that there's no cars around you. Have them far ahead of you or far behind you. That way, you're putting yourself at less risk for, safety-wise, and less risk when it comes to that car potentially being a police officer. Like you probably didn't look at it that well, and you just assumed it was a regular car, and you speed and start taking off. That car speeds behind you, and you get busted. Turns out it was a cop. Now, tip number 6 goes back to what I just said in tip number 5. Now, you're speeding, and there are cars far ahead of you or far behind you. Obviously, when you're speeding, you're gonna catch up to the cars ahead of you pretty quickly because you're driving faster than they are. Whenever that happens, whenever you get close to them, you want to look closely at the vehicles ahead of you. You want to make sure that they're not police cars, and that goes back to tip number 1, knowing your police cars. And just make sure the cars ahead of you don't meet any of the requirements or the checklist of the police car. And whenever you confirm it's not a police car, you can go ahead, speed, and just move on. And last but not least, tip number 7. Check your rearview mirror every 5 seconds just to make sure that there's not a vehicle awkwardly pulling out and speeding right behind you, because if there is, you might want to abort the mission because that could possibly be a cop. Alright guys, before ending this video, I just want to say that this video is for entertainment purposes only. You guys should never really speed on public streets. I mean, this video is only if you have to, if it's an emergency, but honestly, if there is an emergency, just call the proper authorities, an ambulance or police officer, fire truck, whoever is the proper authorities. I'm not responsible for any damages or harm caused by this video. So yeah, do not come contact me if you get pulled over. This is just a video on tips of how to avoid getting pulled over. Not 100% chance, just 90% chance if you follow every single thing that I put in this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Leave a big thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to turn on post notifications, that way you guys get notified whenever I upload a new video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see you all next week.